Hey, good afternoon, team. My name is Hatem. I'm a registered kinesiologist and a certified personal trainer in Toronto. I do some Muay Thai, Olympic weightlifting, and some running for my own training. And one of my clients asked me for a stretching routine that he could try. So I aim to come up with something that should take you about 10 minutes, about 7 stretches. Now you'll notice that each stretch is paired with an exercise. I'll be talking you through what I'm thinking for the stretching routine as I go through it. But you'll notice that each stretch is paired up with an exercise pretty much, because I think that when you stretch, you get access to some new ranges of motion that you typically wouldn't have access to. And I think it makes sense, since you're there, to just go into a contraction right away. Nothing too crazy, 3 to 5 reps, just to be moving actively through a range of motion that you typically wouldn't be, right? Now for this stretching routine, I'll try to go from regress stretches into some of the more progressed stretches. And the only thing I'll really be using here is my resistance band. You can also use a towel, of course, right? First one here, I'm just trying to stretch out my hamstrings, my calves, the back of my thighs. And I like to try to hold each stretch for somewhere between 20 and 45 seconds. I don't have a clock, so I'm not timing it. I'm just trying to go by when it starts to feel pretty comfortable being in that bottom position. And once I'm done, right away, try to go into an active contraction. Just trying to keep my knees straight for this one, raising up my foot as high as I can. And you'll notice it feels pretty uncomfortable, right? Because you can't typically move through that range. But I think exploring that range of motion might have some benefit to reducing your injury risk. Also helping you maintain your flexibility after you're done stretching. Instead of stretching and then immediately feeling like that flexibility goes away, right? Now for this one here, I'm going to be stretching out the back of my hips, my glutes area. Just working on, with each breath, when I exhale, working my way deeper into the stretch. Once I feel that I'm pretty loose, I'm going to go into a contraction. For this one, the regress version, you can have your hands behind your back. Work on using this left leg, pressing that knee into the floor. Going to get a nice contraction in the glutes for a more progressed version. And then for the maximum difficulty. And same idea on the other side. Then for the regress version, hands behind your back. Just working on driving that right leg, the one you just stretched straight down to the floor, contracting your glutes. And then for the more difficult version, you can go hands off the floor. Working on just driving this right leg straight down into the floor and a contraction there. Then right after, just working on your internal rotation here. So just using my hand here to lift up my foot. You can also use your towel. And then once you have access to this range of motion, you want to work on holding your foot up there in the air. Relax. Same idea with your external rotation here. Then work on. For me, my external rotation is not very good, so I'm not able to get my foot off the floor, but you want to try. And then same thing on the other side. Wow. I confused myself. That's wild. Again, working on using your hand here to lift up your foot off the floor. And then from there, right into some of your contractions. Now, if you can't fully do the contraction, you can actually just use your own hand to hold it up and then work on fighting that foot coming down. Now we've got one more for the quads here and the hips. So for this one here, we'll be doing a lunge stretch. You're just working on keeping your ribs down, contracting that right glute, pushing that hip forward. And when you're ready, you can work on pulling your foot up. Again, working on squeezing that right glute, opening up the front of the hip here. And same thing on the other side. Then right after both sides on the lunge stretch have been stretched, you want to go straight into a glute bridge, working on contracting up into the front of the hip there. Really contract into your hip extension. Now when I'm getting into that deep stretch position, I'm trying to push my hips there, and if I can get any more range of motion, that's what I'm trying to push for. Next up, I have the cobra pose here, starting off on the elbows. Once you're ready, you can start working your way up to your hands. Hands a little bit farther away to start. And then working your way up towards hands closer. Trying to lean back as far as I can, create as much extension as I can. And then once you're ready, all the way down, hands up, and you're gonna bring it behind your back. Try to push the hands together when you're at the back. Try to push them together when you're at the front. Trying to contract everything in the back here, pushing your hands towards the ceiling and pushing them together. Then right after, I try to go into a stretch for the mid back. So for this one, I'm gonna use the band here to let it pull my shoulder blades forward, right? You can also use a towel, of course, and then use your foot to pull your shoulder blades forward. And then right after, you can start this one off as a cat-cow on your knees, and you're just gonna press your hands into the floor as far as you can. Again, almost like pushing the floor away from you, letting these shoulder blades come apart. And then once you're ready, you can do it as a push-up. I love that one for the mid-back, the front of the shoulders, the back of the shoulders. It feels so good. The next up here, I have the side plank side stretch position. Starting off on your hips, letting the floor drag your arm up, then working your way up onto your knees, and then same idea. And for the last one, up onto your feet. And then you want to push into the floor. Same idea. Hips up, and then you're going to push into the floor. Let the hips drop, and once you push into the floor, bring those hips up with you. As a regression for that one, of course, you can just go from your knees. And let's try the other side as well. Starting off on our knees here. Working your way up onto your hip, up to your knees. Letting it pull your shoulder. And work your way up onto your hand. And once you're ready, starting off on your knees, you can push your hand into the floor. Once you're a little bit more comfortable, you can do it on your feet. Hopefully you don't slip. Each time I'm aiming for somewhere between 3 and 5 reps, just getting a little bit of blood into that tissue there. And then for the next one here, I really like the lat stretch. For this one, I like to do it on the floor. Use your other arm here to pin this hand down. And you're just gonna reach up and across. Letting that lat under the shoulder here, the side of the arm, the triceps, letting it pull apart. And then right after, you wanna try to reach up into that new range of motion. The same thing on the other side. Then right after, you want to try to go into that contraction. Three of those contractions, a few seconds apiece. Then for my last one here, I want to try to stretch out my calf. So for the calf, you can keep the knee straight. With the hamstring, with the forward fold, you want to try to bring your head down at the same time. But with the calf, you want to try to keep the knee straight and just pull the foot back. You see, so I'm not bending over, just trying to stay upright and just pull the foot back. And then same thing on the other side. Now as I'm pulling with my hands, I'm also trying to pull with my actual foot, right? I'm trying to think about pulling my toes back towards my face. And then right after I'm done, I'm gonna go into some contractions. You can do these ones standing here. Working on raising up the toes as far up as you can. And those are my favorite stretches, honestly. So I have them written out here. We got the hamstrings and calves. And then right after, you're gonna go into those foot raises. You have the hip 90-90. So that's the one where you're sitting like this, leaning over one side, and then trying to stand up and lifting up the back foot, and then trying to do it without your hands. And then we have the cobra pose, where your hips are on the floor, just as up nice and high. And then right after, you're gonna do some of the snowbands. We have the reach, so that's the one where you use your resistance band to let your shoulder blades pull apart, thinking about reaching forward. And then going into that cat-cow, where you're pressing your hands forward. And then we just have some of the side stretches and a couple of those last stretches to open up everything in here. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to